listeners. Welcome to SMQB's episode 267. We have Milk, House, and Rooster with us tonight. Hello, fellas. How you doing?
What's up, Rooster?
How are you?
All right. Let's jump right into it. We start this segment usually with each person picking someone they would like to take to the bar, someone in the sports world, and chat up a little sports issues. So, Milk, you go first.
Well, I think you guys know I've been pretty loud on this podcast for several years on my intense desire to get a baseball stadium in Tampa and not in St. Petersburg, Florida. We got one step closer late last week. The city council and Hillsborough County Commission and Rays ownership have an MOU for a new stadium to be built next to where the Bucks play.
Nice.
At a total cost of $2.3 billion, 31,000 seats. And they're going to kind of, add in a mixed use with restaurants, bars, and things like that. It's not official yet, but I want to take all of the leadership there to the bar and encourage them to keep the momentum going. We need this. This team needs this. And they're in first place, just a reminder. Rooster.
Yes, we know. Milk. It's still May.
Sure.
It's still May.
Just making sure.
Congratulations. House.
Hey, so I hope this doesn't steal your thunder here, Rooster, but...
don't take Pep.
Okay, then I'll leave it for you. I'm going to leave Pep for you.
Oh.
But I just want to make sure someone took him to the bar, so you're going to do that.
I am.
Then I am going to take another favorite of Rooster's, and I just want to say a thank you. This is not meant to be a jinx, but I just really want to say a thank you to Don Mattingly. I was not personally very familiar with his beyond playing career. I knew a lot about his playing career, but the guy can obviously coach.
Yeah.
He's relaxed this team. They're 14-4 since he's been coach. They're first in many statistics. Schwarber and Harper are incredibly relaxed at the plate. Guys that weren't hitting like Bowman are starting to hit. And I don't know what's going to happen with the season. It looked like it was going to be beyond horrible. But we're a game over 500. We're relevant again. They like playing for Mattingly. The guy deserves a chance. I think a lot of people are rooting him on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people rooting him on last year when he was with the Blue Jays to get that World Series. So I don't know if it's going to happen in Philly, but no matter what, he's turned around what was a horrible situation. So drinks are on me. Donnie Baseball, pretty happy with how things are playing out so far.
Yeah, I think in this world of advanced metrics and analytics, a lot of teams thought that a guy as laid back as Donnie Baseball with his managerial style was a dinosaur. But you know what? Some teams need that, and he knows baseball inside and out. So I agree. I think he's had an immediate impact on the Phillies. It's obvious, and
yeah.
I think he's a very talented coach. So I'm glad to see it.
Yeah.
I'm taking Pep Guardiola to the bar. House I knew was going to be ready to do it if I didn't. He's announcing that he's leaving Manchester City this summer after a historic run as coach, which included 6 Premier League titles and Man City's first Champions title in 2023. House, tell us a little bit about who they're talking about replacing him with his former Chelsea boss, Enzo Maresca.
Yeah, so Enzo Maresca, strange situation. He had been coaching Chelsea, took them to the FIFA Club World Cup Championship this past summer. And several games into the season, I don't know exactly what happened with the it's been a topsy-turvy ownership there of Chelsea, but the welcome mat was just no longer welcome to Enzo. He left. They have struggled so badly, and the only job that Enzo really wanted was to be the manager in waiting of Man City. And Enzo's going to be it. And I think Man City's going to be able to keep it rolling because he's a terrific manager. And the rest of the Premier League is not happy that that's who's going to be replacing Pep. It's not going to be a big drop-off.
Well, just for our listeners, soon after Pep was named manager of Man City, maybe within a year or two, we all as SMQBs formed a betting pool on Premier League teams, and I wound up with Man City, and I made a ton of money off these guys.
That's true.
Thanks to Man City. So I'm going to tell Pep he can order the most expensive drinks he wants.
I just get some text once a year that says, "Oh, pay Rooster $50." He won again. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's coming to an end, though. All right, listen, before we go much farther, I'm going to thank our sponsors, Digital Law Marketing, Supio, Assembly, and Injury Board. These wonderful sponsors make this show possible. You will hear much more about them later in the show, and you can check them all out on our smqbs.net website. So, House, let's talk a little NBA Conference Finals. Start with the East. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think the NBA has really been rewarded quite a treat. I know that a lot of people might have liked to have seen Celtics Knicks, but I think this Cleveland Knicks series is a really great story. I think on both sides, East and West, it actually shows that you can turn things around pretty quickly in the NBA.
And through different means.
Through different means. I mean, the Knicks were really in bad shape. They seemingly turned it around with Tibbs, but got knocked out last year, replaced Tibbs, and here they are right back in the Eastern Conference Finals. They made some important switches to the team, even though they lost Hartenstein and Randall. They've added depth. DiVincenzo. Bridges has been really, really good. Their bench runs so deep. I think Cat overall has been a welcome addition. Brunson's playing out of his mind. So I think the Knicks are going to be heavily favored. That said, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden and the size of that team, I think the size is going to give the Knicks a lot of problems. I think what you're going to see here in this game is the Knicks all through these playoffs want to run you out of the gym. The pace of their game is crazy. Let's put it this way, if there's transition basketball, if the team misses the basket, the Knicks are on you so fast on the offensive side of the court, most likely spotting up for a three. If the Knicks have their three going and they're playing transition basketball, I don't think this Cleveland team can keep up. Harden, first of all, is a defensive liability to begin with, but in a quick-paced game, forget it. Donovan Mitchell is okay, but I just think defensively, they're not going to be able to match up with that kind of game. Look, if you watch the Knicks to this point, if they don't know to try to do everything they can to force the Knicks to an inside game and stay away from the perimeter, the Knicks with Mobley down low, they can defend under the basket. They just cannot give the Knicks that perimeter game. They will be just blown out of the series. I do think the Cavs can give them a really, really good series. What they did in Game 7 against Detroit was impressive, winning on the road. So I don't know. I think the East is going to go 6 games. I do favor the Knicks, but I don't think the Cavs by any stretch. Of course, when you're in the Eastern Conference Finals, you're not a walkover.
No, and the Cavs have the Knicks number frequently. I think one of the keys to the game is going to be Jared Allen.
Oh, sure.
If you noticed in the Pistons series, he was like every other game, on, off. And when he was on, so was Mobley.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Allen
and when he's
Mobley,
on, he plays like a real star. When he's off, he's invisible out there.
Knicks have been getting an unbelievable number of second chance points in these playoffs, getting tons of rebounds. That's not going to happen with Mobley and Allen.
If Allen is on, the Knicks are going to have to think about playing Cat and Robinson together some. Because OG can't do it all.
When the season started and you knew that Tatum was out and you knew that Halliburton was out, everybody thought that the East was going to come down to the Cavs versus the Knicks. I mean, that's who was the most likely talent-laden teams that could make it. And here we are. Celtics got bounced. Detroit was, I don't know that was lightning in the bottle, but I don't think they're ready for prime time yet. And of course, Halliburton was out. So here we are. The two best teams in the East are facing off one another. The Cavs are going to have to survive that MSG, that Madison Square Garden thing. These fans are thirsting badly.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we joked about it earlier in the year as to whether it matters at all, but the Knicks won that in-season NBA Cup. And that little bit of experience of playing for something and putting all gears going forward to win a title, that plus last year's, disappointment in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think the Knicks have a chip on the shoulder. They know that they need to get this done. I do think the Knicks are going to come through, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Cleveland plays this series.
It'll be interesting to see how this huge layover will affect the Knicks. I mean, they got a ton of rest
For sure.
after sweeping the Sixers. But because before the playoffs started, the Knicks looked like they were a mess.
Yeah.
They weren't scoring. Cat looked lost out there. Robinson looked a little fragile. And then all of a sudden the playoffs roll around and they're scoring 148 points.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. So we'll see which Knicks team we get.
Who do you like in the if you were going to place a wager on the game tomorrow, and I might consider it, Knicks minus 6.5 at home.
Oh, I like the Knicks, but I really like the Cavs in the first half cover.
Yeah.
Whatever that's going to be. The Cavs, I
Knicks
think
are a
the
second
Cavs
half team in early in series. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Cavs are going to play it close to the half, and people are going to be like, "Oh, this is interesting," and then the Knicks are going to go nuts in the second half.
Cleveland first.
Also,
half,
Donovan
Knicks
Mitchell
total.
thought he was going to be signed by the Knicks a few years ago, and they walked away from the deal. So he has a little chip on his shoulder too.
I think all eyes are going to be on Harden. Let's not forget that the last time Harden was in a serious playoff situation, the Sixers faced the Celtics, and Harden disappeared in games 6 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
He carried the team so that they were still alive. He was incredible in the first 5 games. If Harden gets it going, he can win a game all by himself. If Harden throws up 30, 35 points, that's a Cavs win. It just is. So we'll see.
Yep. All right. If you think that series is going to be fun, the Thunder and the Spurs, oh my God.
My God.
That should be a finals series.
I mean, I think that's what a lot of people think, is that the winner of the West is the winner of the NBA. Of course, that's why they play the games. But here's what's cool about the NBA. These two teams were nothings 4 or 5 years ago. 91 and 92, they either missed the playoffs, were out in a play-in loss. Let's not forget, this is the Spurs' first time in the playoffs with Wemby. They missed the playoffs the last 3 years before this. So this is Wemby's first playoff appearance, and he's taken them already to the Western Conference Finals.
Yep.
They obviously go, it's funny. I guess whatever game it was when the Spurs closed out Minnesota, through about 2.5 quarters, 3 quarters, Rooster made a remark that Wemby needed more from a supporting cast. And then the last quarter and a half, his supporting cast went nuts. So I think Rooster's right on there, that they, as great as Wemby is, he's gonna get his some kind of triple-double. It's going to be points, rebounds, and maybe even blocks, if not assists. He's going to almost get a triple-double game, but that's not going to win you the game. When the Spurs are going to go as their supporting cast goes.
Right. Castle and Fox particularly have to play well.
Castle and Fox have to play great. This is going to be a really fun matchup between what was ultimately, 1-2 with Wemby and Chet Holmgren. Chet's playing great. Chet is playing great.
Mm-hmm. And they don't like each other.
They don't like each other. I think there's going to be a lot of attention to whether SGA is getting legit scoring or whether he's getting scoring from getting to the line, from kind of pulling off those fouls. The Oklahoma City, as the defending champion, I think they are the prohibitive favorite, but San Antonio's really tough at home. I think they're going to protect home court. It would not surprise me if this series goes 6 or 7 games. And so I think we're in store for 2 great finals. And by the way, this is so good for sports because in the NBA, this is one of the only leagues where you can have small markets make big noise.
Yeah.
So here you've got San Antonio and Oklahoma City. They're the favorites in the NBA. That's good for sports.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of analysts on the Wemby wagon here who are saying, I don't care what they say about Oklahoma's odds. I think this guy's that special, and he may be. It'll be so fun to find out.
Well, obviously he's a very different player than Jordan, but on the ascent of Jordan, even on the ascent of LeBron, they had to take their lumps in a conference final.
Mm-hmm.
That was, a stepping stone. It would be remarkable if in his first time in the playoffs, he made it all the way to the finals. He is definitely, generational is such an understatement. He's going to end up being a top all-time player. If Wemby gets to the finals in his first time in the playoffs, the legend grows even larger. So it'll be fun to watch.
Yep.
Oh,
all right.
Same question. -6.5. Thunder. Yes? No?
Load up on the Thunder on that one.
Ooh, you seem very confident.
Yes.
Okay.
I am not confident at all about either game.
Wow. All right. You heard it here. Thunder and Knicks.
So, Milk, you're up. We're going to talk about the PGA. What do you want to tell us
You
about?
just want to talk about Aaron Rye? So exciting.
Yes. Do you like him, Milk?
I do. I don't care for golfers that wear two gloves, but
Why?
What's
What's the big deal?
I don't know. There's just something about it that bothers me. All right. Look, I will say, and we can get into the Rory's whining about the pin placement, but look, that was shocking, really, if you think about it. He's the 44th ranked player in the world. I think his odds going in were like 200 to 1, 175 to 1 to win it. First Englishman since 1919 to win the PGA.
Wow, that I did not know.
He has had to, by the way, get his tour card back twice through Q School.
Wow.
Over the last 10 years. So, highly unexpected.
That is an interesting story.
Unbelievable. The eagle he made, I think it was at 9?
Nine.
The eagle at 9. Of course, the putt on 17 was absolutely absurd. But, this thing was bunched up heavily. It was waiting for somebody, whoever was going to come out and have the round of his life. And maybe the biggest round we've seen from a golfer, just based on who he was going into the final day. This is like a guy that a couple of weeks ago had to play that Myrtle Beach tournament. He didn't even make it to the Quail Hollow. So to come in and win the PGA Championship was unheard of. And he seems like from all intents and purposes, like one of the nicest guys in the world. So that was awesome. Little bit of controversy about the course. House, I want your opinion on this. Scheffler and Rory were very vocal the first couple of days on the pin placements, which led to, and you saw this a lot, you couldn't really go pin hunting. You saw a lot of guys with, 20, 30-foot putts, a lot of two putts. So you had a lot of pars. And that led to a bunched leaderboard. Anyone could have won this thing going into Sunday, literally. And Aaron Rye just came out on top because he shoots at 65. But, is this the type of golf tournament you want to see in a major where, quite frankly, the best players in the world can't break away because they can't go pin hunting. They can't go and get 2 feet from a hole. They're going to play it safe and be dozens of feet off. And that's why he saw, again, so many two putts. And of course, Rory and Scotty are bitching up a storm on Friday, and not surprising from Rory. But, what do you guys think? I liked it. I thought it was cool. It's nice to see somebody else win occasionally.
Yeah, I think golf needs a little diversity.
Here's my question. I went back and looked at this. The PGA has had some unusual winners as it relates to majors. Like, I think it's more reliable, particularly for the U.S. Open, the Masters, of seeing the top players. But going way back, you've got guys like David Toms, Rich Beam, Sean McKeel, Y.E. Yang, Jason Duffner. These are guys that have titles, and now Aaron Rai. I'm wondering, Milk, why is it that for the PGA Championship you get more lightning in the bottle type champions as opposed to the other majors?
I don't know, but I mean, is that true in recent years? Scotty won it last year, Xander the year before.
In recent years it's been
pre-live. Brooks was, he won it 3 years? Almost.
Yeah, he won it
three
three
times.
And then you have Morikawa, Mickelson, Thomas,
Morikawa,
Xander,
out of nowhere. But Morikawa was also playing his home course, where he played college. So whatever. But he's still really good. I don't know. Maybe there's a connection. I'm not sure. It is I guess the least popular major if you had to frame it that way. So maybe the big guns aren't as motivated. I don't know, but
so you guys know you've heard of the professional golfer Michael Kim. Yeah. He's got a cool feed on X, and this is what he wrote, saying exactly what you were talking about, Milk. He said, I got a lot of setup questions, so I'll start there. In general, I like the setup. It was a very unique challenge with the greens and pin locations, but some holes like 8 yesterday was aggressive. It's a 205-yard shot into the wind where you had to hit high to have any chance at holding the green from an elevated tee into the wind. I don't know what the greens in regulation there was, but couldn't have been higher than 15%. My job isn't to worry about a setup. It's to shoot the lowest score. And I think that's your point. Like, these guys on so many of the holes were really worried about how the hole set up, not just about shooting a low score. And I think that's some of the criticisms. That said, there were a lot of people, of course, Aaron Rai, but Justin Thomas loved the course.
Yeah.
There were a number of other players that really loved the challenge that it brought, because again, in Quail Hollow and some of the other PGAs of late, the scores have gone really, really low. And, were it not for him running away with a couple holes on the back, the winner basically here was just around 6 or 7 under. He got to 9, but everybody bunched up at 6. That's unusually low for a PGA. I think that's also good for golf.
Yeah. And by the way, Rory had a chance to win the tournament on Sunday. It wasn't like, he screwed up on the par 5s, quite frankly. He's so used to, but that's where he wins his tournaments. The birdies on the par 5s, and he didn't birdie any of them. So, and then of course he chips on, that horrible chip that he had onto the, off the green on, I think it was 16, kind of finished his run. But yeah, look,
I got to give a shout out to my local fans, because one of the biggest comments from all the players was just how fun it was to play in front of this gallery. It wasn't quite a Ryder Cup or a Phoenix Open, but it was a very boisterous, loud, into it. Like, that's what Philly fans, they're into the sport and they know about what they're watching. And to a player, whatever criticisms that they had about the setup and the course, they loved the crowds. That was one of the highlights of the week, was and all the fun that they had with any of the Texas guys, particularly Scotty. But Scotty laughed it off. He was a really good sport about it. So that was a highlight for me, is that it was really highlighted as a Philly course. It's not exactly Philly. It's 40 minutes in the suburbs, 30 minutes in the suburbs, but it's a Philly area, and Philly showed really well.
Does Aaron Rai win another major in his lifetime?
No.
Yeah, right? I think that's the answer. I think
he's Sean McKeel.
I'm not saying he got lucky. I don't want to imply that, because he had the unbelievable 65 when else, couldn't get there.
He'll win the John Deere Classic. He'll win things like that, but he's not winning another major, in my opinion.
I think you're right.
He got the perfect final round when he was able to make a run and shoot 65, and others they couldn't get the juice going. They faded.
Yeah. I agree.
All right.
I agree.
Anything else on the PGA? I hope not.
I was missing Tiger yesterday, man. We need him back. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
So listen, I wanted to talk about. I think we're about to see a real intersection of college sports with law and politics real soon, and it's already starting. And I just wanted to kind of lay the groundwork for our listeners. There was a Supreme Court decision end of April of this year called Louisiana versus Calais. And the issue was whether Louisiana's congressional map was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. And what happened was the Louisiana redrew its districts in 2022, excluding a majority black district that they cut into pieces in this redraw, trying to get ready for the upcoming election. Federal judge in Louisiana held that was a violation of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, so Louisiana redrew to include this majority black district called SB 8. And then SB 8 was challenged by a different group, and it went up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court held that, in their minds, complying with the Voting Rights Act is no longer a compelling reason for race-based districting. And they found that SB 8 was an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. So the fallout in the way that this is affecting sports, college sports, is was kind of predicted by the dissent in Calais, written by Justice Kagan, who just said, hypothetically, if you think of it this way, if you take a state that is a largely white red state, and you create a district that's a perfect circle, and you make that a black majority district, and you surround that black majority district circle with 5 other districts that are 90% white, and then in advance of upcoming elections, you redraw that plan and carve up the circle so that pieces of it are each going out into the spokes of the 5 majority white districts. You've essentially taken from the black voters their ability to elect a representative to Congress of their choosing. That was Justice Kagan's take on it, and sure enough, that is starting to become clear that the black community is in full agreement. And I started noticing right after this decision, Alabama and Florida quickly redrew their congressional lines for the 2026 midterms in a way that did dilute some black districts. And so I started noticing pretty soon after that on social media, comedian D.L. Hewley and ESPN celebrity Ryan Clark kind of encouraging parents of black athletes to discourage their kids from going to SEC schools because of the Alabama move, and ACC schools because of the Florida move. I guess Florida covers both conferences. And I thought, well, that's 2 guys, we'll see what's going to happen. But I heard Jim Clyburn speak recently, 86-year-old congressman from South Carolina who no longer gives a rat's ass what anyone thinks about him. And he basically said, black ministers across the country, starting just very recently, are preaching to their congregation the same thing that D.L. Hewley and Ryan Clark are posting on social media. And if this takes off and you start to see a swing where these athletes are going to the Big Ten and other conferences and basically boycotting the SEC and the ACC, I mean, it could be like NIL on steroids, where they're saying, hey, don't take our names, images, and likenesses, but also don't take our voting rights for granted. So what do you guys think? Do you think this has got legs, or is it just kind of a hot issue that will fade.
I think that it's very sad to say that the state of affairs in the NCAA today is follow the money. So I think that it's a principled position that's worth these kids really following and their parents. But I think money talks. And
but there's money at Ohio State, and there's money at Michigan and Oregon.
Yeah, but everyone can't all go to Ohio State, right?
If you play wide receiver or cornerback at LSU, there's a very good chance you're going to get drafted in the first or second round. If you play, whatever, we can go through positions that are associated. If you play on the defensive line or linebacker for Alabama, there's a very good chance that you're going to get drafted in the first or second round, notwithstanding how good the team is even going to do. There would have to be a real sea change. There would have to be some true conscientious objection from these players to make those moves. Hey, let's not forget, who was it? Travis Hunter and Deion's kids that said, we want to really actually do something different and play for an HBCU.
Yeah.
Well, they did that for 1 year. And then,
but it made a huge impact.
Did it, though? A lasting impact?
It did. Wasn't it Jackson State? The money that came into that school was a game changer.
I know, but I don't know that kids are signing up for Jackson State as opposed to Division I, schools. It would be great if we could get the HBCUs going. It would be great if these kids could take a stand and say, there's other places where there's money. You can go to Ohio State, you can go to Penn State, you can go to whatever, traditional schools. That said, there's going to be redistricting in Ohio too. I mean, it's not just a Southern problem.
No, I know.
It's very, very interesting
that's an important
issue.
point. That is a very important point.
Yeah.
But I think what you're missing is how religious a lot of these kids are, in the Black Baptist community. And if their ministers and their parents are telling them this, I think it's going to have an impact. And I think you're going to see a change.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think I hear what you're saying, but these kids are going to these SEC and ACC schools, not just for money. I mean, certainly that's where a lot of the money is, but also because that is, at least currently, the best pathway to play professionally. Or if you're not playing professionally, to maybe get a job in the industries. The best competition, the coaching is really good. If you could get some of these coaches to leave these schools and go somewhere else, maybe that would impact. But that's what, the facilities, the stadiums, all of these different things is what they're, I don't know if that's what they're thinking about. Maybe you could get an 18-year-old to change his mindset and say, well, I'm not going to go there because of voting issues and things like that. But I think in their head, they're like, how do I get to the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball or whatever it is? I think these schools, fortunately or unfortunately, provide some of the best ways to do that.
Yeah, they do. They for sure do. I just continue to disagree to the extent for the reasons I've stated, and also because the alternatives are getting better all the time. I mean, I've got Colorado in the mix. That's a really attractive school for young kids. I mean, they're going to get, if they're good, they're going to get a ton of exposure playing for Deion. And the Big Ten is all of a sudden the dominant conference.
Yeah. It'll be definitely something to watch.
Can we stop with the recruiting for Penn State right now?
The other thing is there are ACC schools that are not in Alabama or Florida, so that there are also options, I think.
There were luminary players at the higher level that would affect issues like this. Guys like Jim Brown, guys like Reggie White. I don't know, probably the most outspoken of late in the last several years has been Malcolm Jenkins, but I don't know that we have that consciousness that exists right now beyond what's happening in the churches and elsewhere, they also need the players to guide these guys too. And I don't know that we have that as much today as we used to have that.
Well, it may be coming. I'm just saying, I think we're in the infancy of this movement, and I think it's going to get stronger. And if I was the athletic director at Alabama, I would be talking to some of the politicians about chilling out on some of these policies.
Well, can we segue this into a punch?
Sure.
Are we up to that?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm going to let you guys in on a little bit of a secret that I don't think many of our listeners know, certainly the ones in my house, but you guys might not know that I am a thespian. I used to spend a lot of time on stage.
I've been meaning to bring up
I don't think I did know
your
this.
guest appearance on a certain podcast where you might have mentioned this and also revealed how much you love the applause.
One of the
what plays were you in?
Oh, this is what I want to talk about. I was in a play, not once, not twice, but 3 times. You might be familiar with a show called The Music Man. And The Music Man focuses on a guy named Harold Hill, who is a traveling snake oil salesman who just comes to town and woos the pretty girl in town and sells a bunch of trombones and equipment and stuff like that. And then he goes and leaves. And, the story is, does he finally get caught by a true love and, all that stuff? We have a modern day Harold Hill who is now in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, named Lane Kiffin. This guy is a goddamn snake oil salesman.
Oh my God.
You know what? I wasn't really onto this whole shit before about Lane Kiffin, but some of the stuff in the last couple weeks, I mean, Milk, I should have listened louder. Thank God you didn't get him.
I know.
actually.
I know. I agree.
Thank God
I
you didn't
agree.
get him. This bullshit that, and I've seen the quotes of as recent of like just a few months ago, all the wonderful things that he was saying about Ole Miss. And now he's saying, you know what? It's so much easier to recruit players at LSU because they're less divisive racially than in Oxford, Mississippi and Ole Miss. Oh, yeah, because the LSU, the bastion of diversity, is certainly there's just absolutely no racism whatsoever happening in Baton Rouge. But whatever.
He doesn't give a shit about that, by the way.
Of course not. Move the F on, Lane Kiffin. Coach where you're coaching. Stop shitting where you used to be. That you want theater. You want like Oscar-winning show. I think it's week 3 of the season. LSU Ole Miss. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That is must-see TV. I actually think they are going to take LSU out to the woodshed. I think Coach Golding and Chambliss, I think they're going to go nuts on LSU in that game. Yeah. If Lane pulls that one off, this guy's a jerk. He's just a jerk.
But he's always been a jerk.
I just want to be. I didn't appreciate just what a jerk he is. I'm done with him. This is an uppercut to knock him out.
All right.
This is his problem.
He's like, what can I say to get recruits? Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good.
Dummy.
Look,
what can I say to take
all I needed to know about Lane Kiffin was when all of the yoga moms came out against him after he left Ole Miss and Oxford. I knew he was an asshole. That's what I knew. That he was a total jerk in the yoga classes. And yeah, when the yoga moms hate you, you're not a good dude.
That's funny.
What are their thoughts on you, Milk?
Good punch. Good punch.
You got Milk, do you have a punch? I don't have one.
No.
Does anybody have a lasso? Should we give a lasso to the yoga moms?
Yes.
Milk, any by name you'd like to
No
shout
lassos.
Out? Okay. Well, how about buzzers? Anybody have a buzzer?
Well, it looks like Arsenal, despite teetering on the edge, of blowing this and choking. It looks like they're going to pull this off. They won again today against Burnley. It would take, they're now 5 points clear. Man City would have to win their last 2 games, and Arsenal would have to lose or tie one of their last game. I don't think that's going to happen. The long-suffering fans of Arsenal are going to be okay. I think what's most interesting is that West Ham is now 2 points behind Tottenham. If Tottenham gets 1 win in either of their last 2 games, they breathe a sigh of relief and they do not get relegated, which would have been like one of the, considering a Big Six team would have been relegated, would have been truly remarkable. So it looks like it's going to come down maybe to the last week, but it looks like it could be solved this weekend. And if Tottenham wins, and so there you have it. By the way, we're gonna spend a lot more time in the coming weeks as we get closer to the World Cup. But there's some pretty if you follow world football, there are some pretty shocking decisions of some players that are being left off some of the squads.
When is the roster revealed? When do we find the USA roster?
Next week. The end of next week.
I don't understand this.
But the U.S. is really running into some serious injury problems right now.
Yeah,
they've got 3 guys who are important to the team who are banged up. So I don't know. I'm just so excited for it to come. Truly,
that's going to be amazing.
You're going to catch
Milk,
the fever.
do you have a
You're going
buzzer?
to catch the fever, Milk.
I like the World Cup. I'm in. Yeah, look, big hockey game tonight, right, guys? Sabres, Canadians at Buffalo, Game 7. Buffalo has been awful at home in this series. They've lost 2 of 3. This is going to be a huge game. I have no clue who's going to win it.
I watched the second and third period of Game 6, and it looked like varsity versus JV. There wasn't, like, Montreal didn't even compete in that game against Buffalo. They were scoring. Buffalo could have scored 10 goals in that game. I think it was 7-3.
Maybe they finally ran out of steam.
Maybe.
They played a lot of hockey.
Who are you rooting for, Milk?
Buffalo.
Come on. Do you have to ask?
That'll end the Canadians, right? There will be no more?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Who is
they beat us. Fuck Montreal.
Who's Moose rooting for? Is he rooting Montreal is the rival.
He's rooting against Montreal, but we all know he is rooting for
He's
Montreal.
rooting for Canada, right?
Yeah, of course.
We'll see.
Happy Victoria Day, Moose.
Yeah. Happy Victoria, Moose. Victoria Day. All right, I've got my buzzer is in the form of a trivia question for you guys. So SGA just won back-to-back NBA MVPs. Can you tell me the 3 players in league history who've won 3 consecutive MVPs? Milk.
Well,
take a guess.
Michael
Take a
Jordan.
guess. Nope.
How many are there?
Michael
3
Jordan
guys.
never won 3 consecutive MVPs?
Nope.
Is that wow? Well, I will say, is it possible that Larry Bird won 3 consecutive MVPs?
No way.
It is not only possible, it's true.
Bird did, and Jordan
I'm
didn't.
so smart. I'm so smart.
Larry Bird.
So Larry
2
Bird
more
has
guys.
won. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt the Stilt, also correct.
Oh, come on, Toby. This guy is unbelievable. Can I go 3 for 3? Oh, God. Let me summon this giant brain of mine. I'm going to go with LeBron James.
Wow.
Damn.
Bill Russell. Bill Russell.
Somebody on the
Bill Russell.
Bill Russell. Okay.
Come on. So obvious.
I'm pretty shocked you missed that house.
Damn it.
Wow.
I cannot believe that Jordan didn't have 3.
How is that possible?
He had many, but not 3 in a row.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else, fellas?
Wow.
All right. Well,
Have a good
episode
week. Go Phils.
267 is a wrap.
See y'all.
Bye.
See ya.